buzzer beater.
Oh, that was kind of close.
Yeah.
You didn't have that far. That was just a short trip.
I'm not gonna get into it.
Weather was good.
It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting of the Codington County Commissioners, March 12th to order. If you please rise, I'll have Troy lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2 is, if there's any public comment, you can do it in person or you can call the numbers, 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. And there will be a need for executive session, item 2 today. And then before I forget, if anybody has a phone, could you please silence it? If you have to take a call, you can step out into the hall. Thank you. Sometimes I don't remember that. Item 3, is there any conflict of interest?
No.
Okay, thank you. Item 4, we need a motion to approve the
So
agenda.
moved.
A motion by Van Dusen, second by Gable. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 5, we need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 5th.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, item 6 is to action to authorize the chair to sign a good neighbor agreement with Codington Clark. Dave, would you like to come up?
Sure. Come right in here.
Yep, just come up and turn your mic, turn it on and
Push the button and
Push the
talk
button
into
and-
the mic so everybody knows who
just
you are.
let us, everybody know who you are and
Good morning.
morning.
My name's Dave Idy. I'm the manager of Codington Clark Electric out here. And I've met most of all of you, but I don't know if I know Mr. Dave. So anyway, reason I'm here today, well, first I'll back up a little bit. Codington Clark Electric, we distribute electricity in Codington and Clark County, part of Grant, part of Day. And we're a nonprofit co-op, you know. And we're represented by 9 board members of folks in the areas that we serve. And we only have 2,500 members. Anyway, so we've been doing this for 70 years. It was the last area that nobody had electricity, you know, and then nobody would go out in the countries that couldn't make any money at it, you know. So like Northwestern and those types of businesses went to do it. So we started a co-op and been doing this for a long time. And we still, you know, we started borrowing money from the federal government, long-term loans, you know, low interest rate out of the treasury. And we still do that today. So what we have going on is, you guys know all about this stimulus money that the federal government has been pushing. A lot of it hasn't gone out yet. And we're looking to try to get a grant from the Department of Energy to bury some of our overhead line. We've buried a lot of it already, but we still have a lot up in the air yet. But we just soon get that buried. And if we don't try to get some of this money, somebody else will, you know. So I'm gonna try to talk you guys into signing a good neighbor agreement with Codington Clark Electric. And so we can maybe look to get some of this grant money. And that's one of the requirements. So we have an engineering firm with grant writers, and they're putting all this together. But I have just a real short slideshow if you guys want to see it.
Sure.
Oh, it's up there. Okay.
Yep. Sure.
Can you guys see? It's kind of small, but I didn't put this together. I'm going to go through this the best I can. So our engineer put this together, but we're calling this the Midwest Project to assess, harden, and for intelligence of the of our system. Is there a forward
I
button?
just told me to.
Yep.
Oh,
It tells
okay.
I
There we
believe
go.
you'll put it.
So all of these colored, this is all of the co-ops in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, a little bit in Wisconsin and Iowa. They're all involved with this large application. And so our engineering firm, Star Energy, represents a few co-ops in South Dakota and Minnesota. They're putting this together along with Power Systems Engineering. They're an engineering firm out of, well, they cover that whole area also, parts of it. And then the Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association is involved with this too. And the Minnesota Rural Electric Association. So we're working with all those folks to try to get some of this grant money for all of those areas that are colored there on that map. I could flip the next one. So what we're trying to do is a resiliency assessment system prediction tool is what the University of Minnesota is working with us on this too. And what they're trying to do is come up with a software where they can, in that whole area, see the weak spots in the distribution system. And so 126 million would be going towards that, which Codington Clark would be getting a portion of that, looking at system failure, likelihood of system failure areas. That next harden, that would be for mainly for substations. And we're not a part of that, but East River is, and East River is our sub-transmission provider. So they're involved with that portion of the grant for reclosures in substations and system control and data acquisition and physical security mitigation. You know, that's been happening these days, believe it or not. People will take a high-powered rifle, start shooting at a substation. That has happened across the nation. And then intelligence, these single phase reclosures, we're applying for a part of that. You'll see later on in this little presentation, not much, but 65 million for 25 utilities will be for distribution automation, sensors, and electronic reclosures that are out in junction boxes out in the country. And you see those green boxes along the side of the ditches. There would actually be an electronic device in there that would open up a circuit if you have a fault on it. And we'd be moving to some of that.
So, quick, Mr. Chair, this question. So these are amounts for the whole
The entire-
area you showed on the map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And then the next slide. This shows what the University of Minnesota is working on. So you see yellow and red in that slide and green. The red would be the areas that would really need attention. This is a very simplified look at what that software that they're working on would do. They'd be assessing all the distribution lines and all of that area and seeing, you know, trouble spots. They call it a heat map on here. And for Codington Clark, we're looking at about 70 miles of overhead that we'd like to put underground. And here we got an estimated cost of $4.5 million. That's what we'd be applying for, or our portion of that large amount. And then if I could have you go to the next slide. This is the device that would be out in the box. We're only looking at 18 of these. For Codington Clark, it'd only be 200,000. But that would be the electronic reclosures that we'd be looking at that would be going in some of these junction boxes out in the country.
Next one.
Yeah. And then the community engagement, part of it is of this application is demonstrating community engagement. And we've brought the good neighbor agreement for the county commission to consider to help us with this. And this would help everybody in Codington County. Yeah, there'd be some lines that would be buried here. And then we also have to make sure that everybody knows that the labor, you know, would be our linemen doing this work. And then Engelstead Electric, they do some contracting for us right here in town, local contractor. And then we also hire Larson Digging out of Iroquois. They would be here with some of they have those dozers that they just pull a ripper that goes 4 feet down to bury some of these lines. So that would be that part of it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
question, Dave,
Yep.
it looks like you're gonna collaborate with local technical schools too? Is that right?
Where you at, Troy?
The second whereas on
Oh,
your,
in this part, okay.
on the agreement, so Lake Area Tech, would that be?
Well, I think what they're mainly talking about here is the universities would be the University of Minnesota. I honestly
Okay.
don't know why they put the technical schools in there.
Okay,
It sounds good.
but,
Yeah,
no, that's fine. I just didn't know if that discussion had been part of the plan.
No.
or not, so.
no, we haven't. But
Okay.
I mean, we do hire linemen that come from Mitchell Tech.
Okay.
But I don't know if there's been any conversation with them about this, to be honest.
Okay.
with you.
Sounds good.
And then the summary, like I already said, we're a consortium of 68 other participants for this Department of Energy grant. It's going to be submitted the 17th of April. And if we get the grant, 75% of the cost would be paid for by the Department of Energy. And then here the number changed a little bit. I noticed we have $4,700,000, but they're still working on, our engineer's still working on that. That amount isn't finalized yet anyway. And we would, surely give updates to the commission if you guys would like. If we get this thing and it moves forward, we'd be glad to come back and give a little update to let you know how it's going.
Thank you, Dave. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve the chair signing the agreement with Codington Clark Electric.
I would second that.
Okay, there's been a motion by Johnson, second by Waterman to have us sign this agreement. Any more discussion?
No cost to the county.
Nope.
On this,
There's no
it's just
cost
a
at all.
grant.
We're just attempting to get a grant.
So
Okay.
I'm just glancing at the agreement. I haven't seen it before, but it's just obligating basically you guys to share.
Right.
To share.
And that
The county's not really obligated to do.
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
but you're just in support of us. You're there to, you're supporting us.
Dave, I did notice it still has Lee. Now it would be Randy, so I don't know if we can get that corrected and just cross it off. That will work.
Just a thought or just a comment. I've had the opportunity to serve on the Codington Clark Electric Board for several years and the impact of being able to put this power underground is, it's unbelievable. We sit out in the country and we just hope and pray that the ice doesn't come and take the power lines down. But I've been out in the country now for 50 years. And most of that time, the power coming to my place is underground. And we were one of the first areas northeast of town that did go underground with Codington Clark. And it's just, I worry more about the power coming from the out to the area, from the suppliers like East River and so on. But locally, it's just really helped secure the power to the residents out there. And it's just a peace of mind thing, and it's very, very welcome.
Yeah, I just got another comment. I used to be a dairy farmer, and of course, you pretty rely on electricity, and all Sheridan is buried line. And all of my time milking, and the person I bought my farm from, Larry Munger, we milked them twice a day and never had a generator, which maybe wasn't too wise, but never no outage. It's just incredible what that underground wire does. So I'm all really happy about that. I mean, I just think it's a super deal.
Get her plumbed.
Well, and I don't know if you listened to the news this morning or not, Mike Tanner had it like from North Dakota. With their ice storm in December. Around Christmas time, they're applying for a $21 million grant to replace poles and et cetera. And we just don't have it. I mean, Codington Clark was out redoing some underground at my place this year. And had been underground, he said, for 40 years.
Yeah.
And so it's the feed in that's more of a problem than the feed out.
No,
Yes, is there any more discussion?
just 71 miles of underground of what you're looking at replacing or putting in new.
That would be.
Combination.
overhead to underground.
Overhead underground, just overhead underground, all 71
Yeah.
miles.
Hmm.
What are the total miles?
That we have about 2,000 miles of line. With 6 linemen.
So they can never call in sick.
We don't want
Okay,
Thank you,
seeing,
Dave.
seeing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks,
Good luck.
Dave.
Thank you.
You bet.
Keep the lights on.
Yeah. Okay, monthly reports, audit, Brenda, you wanna?
All right. Yes, good morning, everyone. I would just like to say that the 2023 annual report is near completion. The portion that I need to send to the newspapers is done, so I did that yesterday. So that will be showing up in there. I did attend the annual township and weed meeting. And with that, it was good for me to attend so that I hear some of the new updates, because now that the townships have had their annual meetings, they're turning in their paperwork to me and I'm fielding questions. So it's helpful to kind of hear what all the new changes are. And final date of file petitions for the June primary is March 26th, and independents have until April 30th. And that is all I have this morning, unless anyone has questions of me.
What's that date? March what?
March 26th is for, yep, and then Independence is April 30th.
Yeah, that's one thing that I wish the legislators are listening. I wish the legislators would do something that just is not right. You know, the independents can sit in the woods and watch and see who's gonna run for what offices and wait till the last dog and then come in and then fill out and get a petition. And I think if what's good for one is good, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? And I think that's something that our legislatures need to address. When petitions are due, they should be due by everyone, not just the select Republican or Democrat, the independents or whomever else, they should all. I got off my, okay, I'm done.
Thanks, Myron.
My thoughts.
Do you have anything
No.
else?
I
Brenda?
don't have questions. I'm good.
Okay, next we'll have, Shauna come up for the equalization office.
Good morning, Shauna.
Morning. It's
Already.
rolls around every year.
I got mine in the mail. You know that.
Is this one on?
No.
Nope,
Okay.
green light's not.
All right, so, one thing, I haven't been here for a couple months, but we do have a new employee in our office, Galen Rothenberger. She did come from Hamlin County, and, it is the very first employee in 22 years that I've had come sit down at a desk, answer a phone, and she's able to work. It's amazing. But if you guys want to come in, say hi, introduce yourselves, I'm sure she'd appreciate that. And then assessment notices are out in the mail. They're out March 1st. So we are fielding numerous phone calls, walk-ins, emails regarding taxes, assessed values. And we're getting a lot of questions about the assessment programs, because the law does now require us to send out a sheet in each of the assessments that show what programs are there right now. So we get a lot of questions about that, along with all of the other questions. We did go to the weed meeting, handed out our books. We have a couple local boards that still need to pick them up, but the deadline to appeal to local boards is this Thursday, March 14th. And then local boards will start meeting next week. And they have just 1 week to meet. Appeal deadlines for county consolidated is April 2nd, and we will be meeting on April 9th. Normally we schedule 1 day, sometimes we schedule 2. So I have the 9th booked at City Hall as well as the next Tuesday, but hopefully we won't need it, but I will let you guys know when it's closer to.
April 9th is the first one.
April 9th.
City Hall.
April 9th, City Hall at 6:30 PM, but 1 PM here in the commission chambers for county boards.
What time was that on April 9th?
1 PM for county boards here. And then it will be 6:30 PM for consolidated boards over at City Hall that evening.
That's a good opportunity for people that have questions about their assessment. If you want to appeal that, it's a.
Yep, if the meetings are already set and you have to appeal to come to meeting, you can come, but you can't really speak at the meeting, but now is the time to get a hold of us if you even have questions on your taxes or, you know, the assessments. Right now is the time that anything can be done. When you get your tax bill, nothing really can be done. Basically, the whole month of March is when we can look at everything.
Right.
For the people in the area, now they can appeal their assessments to their local board and they should do that first.
Yes, if you are out in the county and you own and occupy the property that you're in, you need to go to the local board. So the small towns and county properties. If you have a county property but do not live there, you're able to skip the local board and go to the county board. And that way you have more time, but the reason that the city of Watertown is consolidated is because they do not have local boards anymore, so the local board and county board is consolidated into one, and that's why they only have one deadline versus two as the county does.
Good, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
That's all I got.
April 9th.
Okay.
I'll have Sarah come up and
Morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Hi.
And Sarah?
Hi. Oh, here's my report. Yeah, I just emailed it to you. I realized I had forgotten to forward it to you. I just got it yesterday, so. Thank you. Okay. We've been working with the Helpline Center to make sure that we are charting accurately. And so I think our numbers are getting to a more accurate report. You can see on a report, 45 different individuals served in February, 79 different services, which means like case management and bus tickets, all those different kinds of things. So it includes multiple services for each contact, obviously. And a total number of client contacts is 68 clients in February, or 68 contacts in February. As far as the numbers, again, funerals, we've had a fair amount of funerals this month, so about 8,000. Again, that is just January through now, January 1st. Our actual budget shows some of them that come out in December because our budget pulls in December as well. So, but that's pretty accurate. $873 for emergency housing, $187 for transportation, which is really bus tickets for people that need to leave town with no intent to return. South Dakota Cares funding, the time spent about 75 hours, and case management is the next most at about 72 hours for the month. And then you can see some of the other breakdown. And then on the back side of that is the different services, just a breakdown of services and referrals that we've made. Any questions on any of that report? Okay,
So.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, so case management is how you can describe for people what that means.
so that is actually a lot of our community health worker work. That's where they're helping people get housing, helping make sure they get to medical appointments or following up with mental health needs. Just different supports and services that they provide. We consider it case management if it's longer term. We call it care coordination if it's like we're just making referral to somebody or we're just getting somebody connected, kind of a one-time thing. The case management is the longer term, more intense involvement and support for that.
So when you're
Right.
talking about this, so each of these 39, is that like a phone call, or is that particular individuals, or do they say completed services?
Yeah, so that's contacts.
Okay.
with that. So it, probably not the phone calls. Usually it's over 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's a,
All right.
it's over
Thank you.
15-minute time frame. Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Okay, and then as far as different things that we're doing with the CARES or the ERA funding, we were reimbursed $3,250 for the administrative fees for the CARES. I didn't give you this because it's kind of a shorter report. Our impact or CHW program, we received $6,087 from the grant for that program. And we are increasing our Medicaid reimbursement. So we were reimbursed $583 for Medicaid reimbursement for the community health workers in February. We're working on expanding our work with the clinics so that we can work more closely with the doctors. We also have to have orders from doctors for the services the community health workers are doing. So it really does have to be in partnership with the medical doctor that work is happening. We currently have 21 active clients. Carrie is actually in Sioux Falls today, meeting with the Sioux Falls Minnehaha County program and the work that they do at the detention center so that she can get a better idea from them of what we can bring back to Watertown and what might work here. And they have, one of our success stories, we're working on putting our success stories together because the grant is ending, is they've helped 9 clients find safe and affordable housing over like about the past 8 months. And so those are people that were either not housed or housed in substandard housing or not affordable housing for them. And so it's been really fun to watch people get housed in affordable housing with that. Our office in general, we've been talking to South Dakota Housing Authority about becoming an in-person site for the coordinated entry system for homeless people. And so we need to look at a contract with them. And what that would mean is previously ICAP had kind of been doing it, but we're currently, if somebody comes in and they're homeless, we're referring them to a 1-800 number, and it's kind of a long, tedious process to get on a program where they have access to some of the state programs that can help with affordable housing. So we're looking at the fewest barriers for helping those individuals. Sometimes they don't have phones. Sometimes the phones don't work. They only work on Wi-Fi. And so we would like to become an in-person site so that we can do that assessment with people. It's really an assessment we're kind of already doing. And so it would just, Carrie and Paige would be the two doing those assessments. They would take some time, do that assessment. And then what that means is they get on the state queue for housing assistance programs with that. And so it would just be looking at how we can better help local residents with housing needs.
Sure. So is there a process to get into the state queue?
Yeah, so right now, the process, if somebody comes in and they're homeless, we say, okay, call this 1-800 number. They call the 1-800 number and then they leave a message and then they have to get a call back. And then at that call back, they set up an appointment to do an assessment over the phone. And there's lots of barriers. You can just imagine somebody who's in crisis and homeless right now who doesn't have a phone. That process doesn't work. And so we want to make it.
I mean, just following up with those individuals and trying to locate them
Yeah.
after that initial call stuff.
What I know is there some certification process that your office has to go to get on the state? To be authorized?
Yes, there is. So we have to complete a contract with them. And so I'm hoping within the next week or two to be able to bring that contract back to you. And so then once we sign that contract, then our staff have to go through a training. It's about an hour in-person training over Zoom, our new version of in-person, an hour Zoom training. And then they do some self-directed entering cases in. So that's about 6 hours worth of training that they'll go through. There is a fee for having people be on that, but South Dakota Housing Authority will cover that fee. Minnehaha and Pennington counties currently are contracted and they're currently sites for that. And the state covers their staff that they have on that. And so they would do the same for us with that. So,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
So that's in the process. So again, I'll be coming back with that contract hopefully soon. Our South Dakota Association of County Welfare Officials Spring Conference is April 4th in Pierre. And so I've been working on the planning for that conference as well. And then, so I wanted to spend some time talking a little bit about the system of care and strategic planning that we've been doing. I wanted to start by just thanking all of you as commissioners and recognizing that it's your support that has allowed this to happen. I think really want to recognize the positive impact that the county can play in supporting our community. You as commissioners have gave me that directive to build a system of care for social services, and that's just evolved tremendously in our community. We're working together on a larger scale to really address the needs of our community. So I really hope that you can take pride in the role that Codington County has played in that positive impact for our community and all that we've accomplished in the last 3 years. As an update, we currently have 3 action teams that are actively addressing housing needs in our community. The first one is housing. Again, I know I've talked about this before, but we're working with the Watertown Development Company, who's hired a consultant. We are in the process of planning a strategic planning date at the end of April. And then out of that, we're going to be planning a housing summit that will take place in June. And so we're excited to see what solutions we can come up with in our community. And it's been fun and exciting to help be leading that initiative. Our community action team, which is kind of pulled a whole bunch of things into one. We're doing a needs assessment, and that will be happening here in April or May. It was supposed to be when the weather is nice, but apparently that's all winter this year. So we're working on getting the document together that we'll be asking the questions for the survey. And then we'll have the company that we're contracted with will be coming and doing those questions in person. So probably end of April, beginning of May, they'll be around the community asking community members the questions for that needs assessment to really get an idea of what our community feels that we should focus on with that. Also, that group is looking at a centralized location. That was a big goal from the start, is how we can get our social service agencies together so it makes it easier for people to access services. We've sent out some initial surveys to different providers in the community. So far, we have about 7 agencies that are potentially interested in being in a combined facility. To be aware, 3 of those are county. So it's ourself, veterans, and the county health are all interested in being on a shared site. So more conversations will be happening, but I think that's a good indicator for you as well, that this is a need for our county to bring those agencies together. And then the third group then is the childcare. This is kind of we all know childcare is super complicated. It's a big beast right now. We've been really actively working with some key players in the community. Again, just to be aware that we're developing a plan, and there's going to be some work coming out in the next few weeks regarding childcare and how we can support childcare. It's going to be asking for our community to step up and support it, both just with general support, but also there's going to be some need for financial support too. And so to be aware that those are some things that are coming forward with that as well. And then we are also still working on becoming an early learner community. We're waiting for the city to review that contract to become an early learner community. And what that basically means is that we are committing as a community that we're committed to giving children the best start possible through all the opportunities that they would have as an early learner with that. So that's where we're at right now.
Wow,
Yeah,
a lot happening.
it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Are you doing any work with the local school district there? Because they're really involved in early learning now too.
Yes.
And making a lot of changes, and I think there was be a good tie-in with them.
So we've been starting to have some conversations. The school district is part of our action team for childcare. And I've had some conversations with the superintendent as well. Lake Area Tech is also going to be a partner with the early learner, with their educare and all of that.
Mr. Chair.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, so, you made the comment about how the commission has supported the mission, and we appreciate that, but I'm just amazed at the progress that we've seen in our county in 3 years that you talked about since you've come on board. When we hired you, you kind of put your head down like a bull and just you're running forward. And for that, I mean, we've developed these partnerships, I mean, that we're starting to see results on in our community. And so keep working hard. We appreciate what you're doing for us. And, something as simple as a name change has a big effect in the community. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great to see everybody come together.
Thank you.
What number
Oh,
8,
yes.
item 8 is action to approve an intern to help with marketing on the Codington Connects.
Yes, and so this is in partnership with our marketing coordinator for Codington Connects. She will actually kind of oversee it. That's Jen Bender with Odney Marketing will oversee the intern, but there is a small stipend which is covered under the Beyond Idea grant, and so it won't be any county funds. It's all through the Beyond Idea grant. The student is currently in the business program at Lake Area Tech, and so that would be the internship would be through the business program at Lake Area Tech. It will go through the end of summer is when that internship will last.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Gable,
I'll second.
second by Van Duzen to approve the intern. Any further discussion?
Will we be getting an agreement with Lake Area?
Yeah,
Tech and-
I have it.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
fine, that's.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Excellent.
Fantastic.
Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks.
thanks,
Thank you,
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Number 9 is action to authorize the chair to sign Tom and Mavis Reichling right of way easement for bridge number 15-216-220. Rick,
Good morning.
morning.
Yeah, the Reichlings signed their easement, so we had to pay $6,500 for them to sign the easement. But that was so we could get the bridge done on County Road 20-5, which is 176th Street. So it's full steam ahead now.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gable,
Second,
second by Waterman. Any further discussion?
now that $6,500, that includes the whole wall of wax. right?
Yep, the perpetual easement and the temporary
yep.
easement.
Both easements.
Yes,
Very good. Thank you
Done
for
with it.
working on that so hard.
you can thank Mark Junker and Mike Adams. They're the ones that
I'll pass our thanks on to them.
I will.
Yep.
I will.
Banner Engineering.
Banner Associates.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks. Number 10 is action to declare 2 sheriff's office vehicles surplus.
Morning.
Morning, Sheriff Howell.
How's it going today?
Good.
Good.
All right, I got 2 vehicles I'd like to trade in on our 2 new vehicles that are coming in that we ordered end of last year. We got one in and another one should be coming up here relatively soon. 2 new Durangos that we did order. I'm looking to trade in a 2013 Ram 1500 and a 2013 Ford Police Interceptor.
Okay.
So
Motion to approve.
Motion by Van Dusen, second by Gable to declare these vehicles surplus. Any further discussion?
the amount of the pickup, they're gonna give us 8,000, and for the police interceptor, it's $4,500.
Good.
Any more questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Number 11 is action to allocate juvenile justice reinvestment initiative funds to the Watertown Boys and Girls Club. Come on up.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Louis, you can turn your mic on.
Your slides.
You have the slides up? Sure. If it's okay with you, I can go over our recent numbers and data, take any questions, and then of course we'll talk about our proposal for the dollars that came in. So do you need handouts? I have extra if you'd like. Anyone?
I'll take one. Thank you.
Okay.
I can see that.
Charlie doesn't get one. Okay, we'll just give you a brief overview as far as where our numbers are for both JDAI, which is Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative. Our fiscal year, we're gonna start with diversion. Our fiscal year runs from July through June, so we're wrapping up our fiscal year here. 322 active cases this year. So 422 was our hard point last year. We think we'll be comparable to that. So as you can see, we've grown significantly since diversion has started running through the Boys and Girls Club back in 2020. So I also have a breakdown of the types of cases that are being referred to the youth diversion program. As you can see there, tobacco and vape are among our highest cases. Simple assaults, aggressive behavior is kind of on the rise. So that's something we're working with our partners to try to combat. And then, of course, you can see the rest there. Let's see. As far as JDAI on the next slide, on the next page, this is
That chart.
certainly.
That 50 and 44, so on, does that represent the individual numbers? Not a percentage, I think. That's the individual numbers.
Individual
Okay, thank you.
cases.
Individual case, yes, correct. Yep.
Don't think you could have. Come back.
Yeah. So there are times when a youth will need a second time through. We take that into account if they come through a second time or even a third time with the response. So
So you count them again?
we will count them as another case. Yes. Yep. If they come through.
Maybe we should say this, just so people understand, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Just so people know what we're talking about here. So this is, when we talk about youth diversion, we're talking about, fairly minor offenses, but keeping them from getting a criminal record basically. And that's where you work with the state's attorney, get them into basically a life skills program. Sometimes it's teen court. That would be kind of high end, but through the Boys and Girls Club. And so.
Correct, yeah.
That's what, so you're diverting them from the justice system, giving them a chance, but still nipping it in the bud because the offenses are pretty minor. So.
Exactly. Our intentions are to get them, to hold them accountable, get them some support. It's everyone who goes through the youth diversion program, every juvenile is put on their own unique plan. So if it's a truancy situation, someone who's struggling with truancy, we're going to get them connected with mental health screening, see if a counselor may be needed in their life. Lots of school visits, lots of phone calls. If it's somebody who does, a misdemeanor vandalism, breaks some windows, that's going to be a different response. They're going to pay for the damages. They're going to do some community services, write an apology letter. So it's just unique to everyone. But the whole idea is that they learn a lesson and they don't continue these behaviors and avoid the court system is, in a nutshell, what we try to do.
Mr. Chair, and that bottom line for us is they keep them out of our jail.
Ultimately, that's the goal.
Ultimately, that is the goal. And it looks like it's working. If you go into the next page there, prior to our justice reform. Oh, sorry about that. Or prior to the to juvenile justice reform back in 2017, our average jail population for juveniles was 1.4. Since the changes were put into place, we've gotten that down to 0.7 was our last year. So cut that in half. And that was really our highest year since 2018, which was just 0.3. So ideally what we're doing is we're offering alternatives to jail. So there are kids that maybe get arrested for a misdemeanor offense. Instead of them sitting in jail for a period of time, we put them on conditions, house arrest, school attendance, etc. And as long as they don't reoffend in that time period and show up to their court date, that's a successful alternative. And that also shortens the length of stay as kids are in the detention center. So it used to be just about 8 days on average, and we've got that down to just a couple of days with some of the changes we've made. And then I have a highlight here as far as just tobacco specifically, or vape. Really, it's not cigarettes, it's vapes. Some of the things we do, it is working. This is a comparison. We started taking vape cases last school year, September. And as you can see there, we had 24 in September, 22 in October. So vape was off the charts. Literally, we had to create a separate chart to show you our top cases. And now, as you can see in the red, we've made we're moving in the right direction. And that's because prior to them going through diversion, they were simply going to court, paying a fine, or the parents were paying a fine. And that was about it. Now they're paying a minimal fine and they're getting some education. So we're getting them connected with the Project Success program at the school. They're taking an online course or an in-person course, just something to try to instill them that these behaviors are risky and causing issues. So it's nice to see that those are going down. Wish everything was going down, but obviously some things are moving up, and we're trying to rectify that. Maybe I'll transition to Becky if I can. Can I just overview the funds?
Absolutely.
So fortunately for us, there are state dollars that are attached to successful diversions. So we're at a point now where our county is receiving just over $82,000 due to successful completions in the last year. So with that, we do have a proposal. Those do go to the county. Our hope is that we could pass those back to the Boys and Girls Club. As you see with the growth in the last few years, it's a lot for one person. I do have an assistant who's been working part-time, and that's been very helpful. But we'd like to get a full-time position to help offer these resources.
So we do, Codington County received $82,750 from the state for 331 successful completers. We were paid $250 for each successful completer. Those funds come back to the county to be reinvested in the juvenile diversion program. I just want to recognize and share my appreciation for all the work that's been happening at the Boys and Girls Club, for Lewis and Liz. The programs that they have developed to help our youth have been fabulous. The tobacco tickets, the vape tickets are a perfect example. If they were brought in front of the court, they're going to pay a fine. A lot of times the parent's going to pay the fine, and that's all that's going to happen to them. Whereas now we're able to divert those. They pay a minimal fee, but they're getting some education to learn about the dangers of vaping. And that's with all of the cases that we're sending. There's an education component there for these youth to learn school or skills to hopefully prevent them from coming back into the juvenile and the adult legal system.
Mr. Chair, let's give him a round.
Appreciate it.
So Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you.
if I can, so what is your ask here today?
So my ask is these $82,750. We would ask that those be reallocated back to the Boys and Girls Club so we can do a variety of things. I can go down the line items if you would like, but the main portion is the full-time personnel to help with caseload.
I'll make a motion to allocate the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Initiative funds back to the Boys and Girls Club for that purpose.
Okay, motion by Van Dusen, second by Gable to reallocate those funds back to them. Is there any further discussion?
Put it on the screen, just with the budget that Lewis gave to us, so.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. We'll keep it going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it
Good
it
stuff.
takes more than just, we can be as good a parents as we can, but it takes a community to surround people to help them.
Absolutely.
My wife and I raised 6 kids. They were not always in trouble, but they got in trouble a little, and through programs, it was a one-time thing. So I'm here to tell you it makes a difference.
It's so fun to watch these programs when they work. And
Yeah.
so we're seeing results. So keep it up.
There's definitely, it doesn't work for everyone. There's some frustrations, but
There's a parent out there thinking now, is my child at 0.7?
yeah.
That's
I can share that with.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair.
If I could ask just one more question. So
Absolutely, yeah.
one number that is kind of alarming to me on your report is the simple assault number.
Right.
So what are we doing to reduce that number? I mean, what programming do you have for, the question that I have is for youth that have that tendency to want to resort to that level?
That's a good one. That an anger management type
Mhm.
program, which we don't have, but we're working on that. We partner with HSA quite a bit. So we just had a JDAI meeting. We talked about this being an issue, and that's really what's great about those meetings is it's not just me trying to come up with creative ideas. It's our Judge Means, who's here in support and can answer questions as well. It's law enforcement, it's counselors, school districts. So we get our groups together and we try to come up with creative ideas. And we've identified that's a big need. I know Sarah Faust, who was just recently here, she's working with resilient communities to create other programs for specifically anger management. We've identified family counseling as another need. So that's another area where we're trying to get some dollars to offer those programs. So
And these simple assaults, are they generally two students that are assaulting each other? Is it family related assaults? or-
it's typically school fights,
School fights.
minor things like someone hitting someone with a water bottle and turning around and pushing the other kid.
Yeah, okay.
To two kids deciding to meet in the parking lot and have a fist fight. So that's pretty much the spectrum.
Thank you.
Any more questions or discussion?
I just make a comment. I've been watching way too much TV sports primarily in the last few days. Hockey and basketball. I think I still see them coming at me. Anyway, especially in hockey, they check each other and I'm thinking, man, they must really be able to handle their anger. That must be a tremendous challenge for them somebody's worked well with those people that they don't end up there's not as many fights in hockey as there used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be you go to a fight and the hockey game would break out.
Yeah.
And it's changed now. And I think a lot of it is to do with just anger management.
Yeah.
And we can see that.
Yeah, speaking of, I didn't shout this one, but Fallout Shelter's they've been a good partner with us recently. So, and that's sometimes kids just need a positive outlet. They need to go punch a bag, do some karate. So
Yep.
we have partnered with them. We've sent several kids to Fallout and we've seen some good results there too.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Great. Thanks so
for your
much.
work.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, item number 12 is action to approve the auditor's account with treasurer and note monthly registered of deeds fees.
All right, you have that in your packet. The auditor's account with the treasurer on the last day of February. The ending amount there. Also, then the other sheet will show our restricted cash, restricted and the custodial funds that go to the schools, townships, cities and towns. Those are allocated out each month according to the amount of taxes that are taken in. And then the monthly registered deeds fees was in the sum of $24,631.70.
A motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 13. No Easter office closures.
Yes, so we follow what the governor does, and she did announce that she is granting administrative leave for both Good Friday and Easter Monday. So it'll be March 29th and April 1st, that the courthouse and all county offices will be closed per prior what am I trying to say, policy. That's just to note it, so we don't need a motion,
No.
just to make note of the office closures.
Okay, number 14, action to approve abatement applications.
We do have one abatement today. It's record number 15643. The abated amount is $1,241.76, and this was reason of a damage by fire on June 15th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, number 15, action to approve claims for payment.
Right, you have those on your desk. I didn't really highlight anything. If anyone's seen anything, you will notice in the sheriff's budget, one of his vehicles did come out to Watertown Ford Company. It was for the Durango, 45,160. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions, anything jump out at you? Don't really have anything other than that, that I would know. So I would also add then the total amount that we pay out to the state treasurer this month is $643,778.01. So the actual amount that the county claims is $413,202.67 out of that 1,056,000. So the actual county amount is $413,202.67.
Motion.
A motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Johnson to approve the claims for payment. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Number 16,
No budget supplements, no personnel changes, no travel requests.
we're down to 19. Public notice for possible quorum of commissioners.
I did take off tomorrow's the Sioux Valley Commission meeting. I had it on last week, that there could be a quorum tomorrow in Huron.
And I did note last week that tonight is the Senate annual meeting, and if you're a member of the Senate's Sioux Valley Co-op, there might be more than 2 or 3 commissioners there.
At noon, they changed the date on the.
Next Wednesday, next
For the
Wednesday,
Republican,
yeah.
that's at noon at Pizza Ranch. No, it is not. It's at the Extension Center. No, it's the Pizza Ranch. Well, we should be here.
Yeah.
So we should be here.
Okay, seeing none other, number 20, is there any old business? Seeing none, any new business?
Mr. Chair, just a quick update. So on the, so I guess it could be older, but so we hired our architect to redesign, so that's Tigger's working on the details of the contract. So that was the $40,000 one. Next, we need to interview construction managers at risk. So that we get received 4 or 5 proposals, I forget, but Tigger's recommending that we interview 2 of those firms. So we'll be doing those interviews on March the 27th, which is a Wednesday. So that'll be probably in this room, but I'll finalize the location, but that'll be a chunk of that day. So some members, not the whole CCGAC, will be doing those interviews. But so it's kind of, people are curious about it, just contact me to see if it's kind of, we're not gonna stream job rankings basically, but anyway, just so people can be aware that that's going on. And then the following day on the 20th, evening of the 28th, we'll have another CCGAC meeting to come up with a recommendation of those 2 firms to the Board of County Commissioners. So the 27th is the interviews, 28th is the evening of the 28th is the CCJC meeting.
Do you have a time on the CCJAC?
5:30.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Gable. Any other new business? It's time for the open. Public comment. If anybody would like to comment? See any? The commissioner comments?
Mr. Chair, just to make the commission known, I'll be headed to Pier later this week to attend a meeting. It's a day-long meeting, so there you go.
Okay.
Just want to throw that out there. Standards and Training Commission.
Here, I have just a comment. I guess it's just something that's been bothering me just a little bit, so I want to share this. I had this past week, we all had our township meetings, so we had an opportunity to rub shoulders with a lot of our township supervisors, treasurers, clerks, so on and so forth. And my concern is with this, what's the acronym for the culvert?
Ray funding?
Rafe.
Rate funding. I think that we have failed our constituents in that there's 18 townships in the county. How many applications did we get?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. How many did we award? Last year we awarded 1, and this year we awarded actually 1 township. 2. There was 2 to the 1 township. Now, if I had a teacher that the students came in and said, we had this assignment, and only 5 or 6 of the students turned the assignment in, a red flag would be flying. Why in the world did only 5 or 6 applications come in? Then when of those 5 or 6, there's only 1 township that actually completed the forms correctly. Well, you can do the numbers, you can figure the percentages. I'm sure the teacher would be saying, these kids, what's wrong with them? It's not the kids, it's the delivery system. I think we're not being diligent in getting the information out to them. I think I have to go back to the day that I was introduced to that form that was to be filled out, to be submitted. And I had professors in college, and you did too, that could write a test that would be guaranteed the student would fail. In fact, the professor couldn't even pass the darn thing himself. And that's kind of the way I feel about this instrument. We've got something out there that is so cumbersome, so hard to deal with, that our townships aren't being recognized and we're not getting the facts in. Now, I think, and I would appreciate all the board members here and anyone else to chime in and share what we could do to increase these odds that I just shared with you now. I have some ideas, but I always felt that if you got a complaint, you should have a solution with the complaint. And I think we just need to really somehow, some way, work with these townships a little bit better than we have. Not a little bit, a lot better than we have in the past. And these township boards, they're farmers, they're bankers, they're whatever. They don't deal with paperwork every day. They're just not used to getting on the computer and downloading a form and doing this and that, and whatever it takes to get this form completed. And I really think that we need to help them and assist them. And there's money there to be distributed to fix these culverts. That's the bottom line. We need to get these culverts fixed that need to be repaired. So I'll get off my podium again and just food for thought. What can we do?
So can I add to that? I don't know if anyone else has anything. I've been involved in it since the beginning, obviously. There has been good information coming from South Dakota Towns and Township Association sent out to them. You know, if they would go to their conferences, it's explained very well there. Travis has been a great resource for individuals. It's just going to take time. And I think they're starting to get it now. We did actually have 2 different townships that were approved. 3 culverts were approved. One had their stuff, they just didn't have it all there that day. But anyway, I think it's just education. This year, I would say Rick put a packet together that had the application, you know, all the steps, everything that they need to do to qualify. And we put that in their township envelopes this year. So each township should have received that and have that information. And it's not a difficult process. It's just taking the time to do it.
You know, one thing that I would recommend if I can, Mr. Chair, is that every year we sit down and I know I'm going to get some kickback on this, but I think that it would be worth opening this room up to those towns and townships and having them sit here and go over that packet with them, provide instructions on how to complete it, you know, and set that date every year ahead of time and invite them. If they want to come here and be educated on this process, great. If they don't show up, then that's on them. But at least we give them the opportunity along with the deadline information and how to complete the information and let them know that it has to be completed correct and it has to be submitted by this deadline. You know, we're willing to assist with that, but you know, I like that idea, Myron. And I think that you know, right now we're just kind of pushing them out there, and Travis does a great job with that as well. But I mean, maybe he's one that should be sitting here at this table when everybody's sitting out there, kind of explaining this stuff to them. I mean, it's only going to benefit us in the county. It's our county infrastructure in our townships. I mean, so it's incumbent upon us to provide those resources. And I know we've done a lot, but I think I agree with Commissioner Johnson here. I think we can do better with that. And so we have the resources to do that. And I would like to see us do that, work with the townships a little harder on that.
Well, expound just a little bit on that. I've talked to several people out in the townships, county. Biggest thing is the 5-year plan and the opting out. Those two.
But they don't understand it.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the
But
whole
that's
thing
what
right
they're
there.
saying.
They
We
don't
want-
understand.
You know, we don't want to opt out. And we not gonna don't do a 5-year plan.
But I mean, if we have that conversation and we get somebody here that knows and understands and can explain it to them at a base level and say, this is what you're looking at. This is what you have to do. This is what this means. That's
And the
beneficial.
feeling that I got with the opting out plan is our taxes are gonna go up, so the heck with it.
They can do a road levy as well, up to 50 cents. That's done on a yearly basis at their annual meeting. And that can be a very minimal amount.
Yeah, no, it is a minimal amount, but that's just the general consensus. And Travis did an excellent job of explaining to everybody that was there.
All super good comments. Most of it stems to if we can get the right information with the right people at the right time,
Yes.
will make a difference because that's what most things are, is facilitating it and letting people know what we have. And we'll do better. We'll
You know,
get that done.
And maybe that's a 7 PM meeting on a Wednesday night and send out the invite and put people in this chambers if we have to, or wherever. We can have the meeting wherever. But make sure that they're all invited and get everybody on the same page. It's important.
Starting shortly, that's gonna be rather difficult. Some people are already filling up their days.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for all your
Good thought,
Comments.
but it's.
okay, if there's no further comments, we do have a need for executive session, item 2.
Move to adjourn to executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those,
Not adjourned, just go.
don't.
Yeah,
Just
just
to
go
go.
to,
Okay, we have a motion by Johnson, second by Gable to move to executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.